Say, hi everybody. So we're just talking about the 10-day cleanse, and it is January 23, just to kind of locate us in time and place, in case you're tuning in a bit later. And we are chatting today about the 10-day cleanse, which is superfoods, and you buy it as a package. This is a big question I often get asked: what is it? So it's a package of superfoods. They're like some of them are blends and some of them are single products, and we have a schedule throughout the day when you're on the cleanse. So it's a 10-day cleanse, and you're pretty much doing the same thing every day, which is having 3 superfood shakes made from a big tub of, this is green. So the first thing to say is that it's all organic, it's vegan, so it's non-GM, non-genetically modified, and what you see on the label is what you get in this tub. There are many cleanses like this or looking like this on the market, and you really have to drill down to find out what is in them. Just one of the things I like about this is what it says on the label is what is in it, and you can easily find out what is in it from the company's website, from me. And the other thing to say about this, which is an important factor for some people, is this is gluten-free. And as I said last week when we were talking about this particular shake, is very occasionally I get somebody who isn't doing too well on just green food. So you're having 3 shakes a day, and then you're having other products with that throughout, which we'll talk about as we go along. But just to say, that's the structure of the cleanse. And when you buy the cleanse, it comes with a guide, which is printed on nice paper these days rather than shiny hard paper. I think it's much more recyclable. So the company, it has some commitments to looking at recycling and longevity of the planet. One of the things you'll see with the European version of the cleanse, which all of us chatting today are on, is that you've got big plastic tubs, and unfortunately it's still quite difficult to get through EU laws with recyclable packaging. We do get it in the States with the company, and we're working towards that in the UK and Europe. And I think that's an important issue for me, is I like to be working with a company that has a commitment to the kind of values that I have. So two of the products come in glass, and we always used to get a plastic shaker with the cleanse. Well, we don't anymore, because everybody complained if they were buying a second cleanse of getting another plastic shaker. So they lowered the price of the cleanse incrementally, and you now buy the shaker separately. So there's, there are some commitments there to the kind of things that are values for me. And you've got a big page in here about each of the individual products, and we can talk about those in my sleep probably by now. There's some quite nice testimonials in this, but I have written my own version of the schedule, which I will share with you. So Helen, you said you needed reminding of the schedule. I'll just share that with you by email. And in here, you will see that it's recommended that you start the cleanse at 7 o'clock in the morning. If that doesn't suit you, start at 8. But you're basically on a 2-hour schedule of taking 2 of the products with 500 ml of water first thing in the morning, then 2 hours later following with the big green shake. 2 hours later, you go back to the few products you'd had first thing. And with each of those products, they're called MAP and cracked cell chlorella, you are having what's called a small flex meal, so that you're not just having these either liquid products or dried products, which we're reconstituting with water. And that might sound a bit gross when you first hear about reconstituting wheatgrass, blue-green algae, cracked cell chlorella, that type of thing, with water. That's what most of these power shakes are. So you'll see other types, other things like this on the market. And really your question is, how is it processed? This company uses minimum processing, so that when you add water, it's much closer to you being a fresh pressed juice than it is with a lot of other companies. So, and I only know this because I've researched it endlessly for years. So I'm not going to chat too much more about that, but just to say, those are some of the things at the outside: organic, vegan, gluten-free, and it is what it says on the label.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, fire away.
That one, I'm sure, didn't state when I joined Curium that it was gluten-free. The one that I always order is the Love.
Yeah,
because at that point it was just Love that was guaranteed gluten-free. But you're saying that's now gluten-free, but
yeah,
you also say it's got wheatgrass in it. So how can it be gluten-free if it's got wheatgrass in, which I react to?
Okay, so there's a couple of different questions going on there.
Sorry.
In 2017, this became a truly gluten-free product. That means that it has to register below a certain amount of grass or gluten-related products. So for the vast majority of people who are gluten sensitive, it is the grain that they're sensitive to, not the grass. This is wheat grass. This is not the grain. Okay, so this is not using the grain itself. And you are one of the people on the planet who is so sensitive to grains and grass related products that it sounds like you shouldn't have any of them. But I'm talking, just like a minutiae of people. And I would actually look at things like Crohn's disease to see if you have traces for that. Maybe you do, because that is extreme sensitivity. Wheatgrass is not the same as the grain, the seed. Okay, so it's a very common misbelief. And I
tested positive when they allergy tested me. I tested positive for the grain and for the wheatgrass.
Yeah, so that's extreme. And you've also got barley grass here. You've got alfalfa. So both of which are, well, certainly barley grass is a grass and alfalfa is closely related. So all of those. I
can have alfalfa, I can't have barley grass.
Yeah, so that's why you should still continue with what's called Love Supermeal. Love Supermeal is another one of these shakes
I can get
we have in the range.
It helps. Do you want me to get a box? I can get my box if that helps people here.
You can if you want to, yeah. So the Love Supermeal, there's a few different versions of it, and that has even less relationship to the grain. So, a lot of people, you'll see buckwheat is in this. Buckwheat is not at all related to wheat or any grain. It's not even a grain. It just happens to have the name buckwheat. It's a total misnomer. It's actually a completely different plant. So you can hear there's a whole lot of information that we could have around wheat. But what you've got here is a fully registered gluten-free product that is labeled gluten-free, and it couldn't claim to be gluten-free if it wasn't. So it's a really important factor to know and understand. Millet is another grain. There you go. It's a very similar looking packaging. Helen's holding up the Love Supermeal. It's a slightly more expensive shake. It has slightly more calorific value. I would recommend it for athletes, breastfeeding mums, possibly pregnant mums, anybody who is so sensitive to gluten that they can barely sort of touch flour, be in the same room as it. I mean, we're really talking about, I don't know anybody else on the cleanse, Helen, ever, and I've worked with hundreds of people, who is as sensitive as you to something like wheatgrass. I've had people, the one person who doesn't have a gluten sensitivity, but she has a sensitivity to green foods. So there's, the live enzymes in green foods, anything, cabbage, spinach, all green foods, she can't deal with. She can't eat lettuce. So we're talking extremes here, and we're not talking about the 10-day cleanse. Yeah. So Matt, anything you want to jump in with? Any questions? Because you are you on day 6 or 7? Just need to unmute. I'll just click that.
Does that work? Is that working now? Yeah, I'm day 7, and I've lost 10 pounds so far.
Brilliant. It's
It's
amazing.
pretty amazing, really.
Yeah.
I have found it very easy to follow the instructions, and indeed how the gaps between every 2 hours, and sometimes I miss them by a few minutes or whatever, but it's no big deal. You never feel hungry, which is extraordinary. You're sort of well catered for in that respect. One question I have, and that's sort of, I'm beginning to crave food, normal food, and that we sort of finish our detox on Friday. What sort of plan do you have for the next stage? You know, obviously we don't want to put the weight back on, but how do you maintain the balanced diet that also doesn't attack the stomach too much in the first few days?
Yes, yeah, no, great, really good question. So I will send you my got some notes on following on, and don't worry, BJ, nice to see you. Yeah, so I'll send you some information about following on. I suggest breaking the fast quite gently. So when I say fast, it's you're restricting, you know, or avoiding certain foods. You are, as Matt just said, on a 2-hourly schedule, and so you don't really feel hungry on this. If you do get hungry, because it's cold, it's winter, as I said, so I started with talking about January, then we can move into some of the warmer flex foods, things like miso soup, steamed greens, even lightly sauteed. Helen, you asked this as well, even lightly sauteed sweet potato, squash, that type of thing. Kind of, you could bake it in some coconut oil. And if you join my WhatsApp group, I usually share lots of recipes there. So that's a good space to be. So make sure you join that, and I share some ideas if you're stuck. And there's ideas as well on my version of the 10-day cleanse schedule. So when you break it, what I suggest you do, a little bit like when you start the cleanse, is move slowly into eating the things that we know tax our digestion a bit. So introduce, you know, grilled or steamed fish, meat, just lightly cooked, simple meats. You know, it's much harder for us to digest red meats than it is to digest the leaner meats, chicken, turkey, etc. And you might just want to be vegan for 2 or 3 days, or slowly break a fast with, you know, something like scrambled egg rather than fried egg. You know, try to keep fried foods to a minimum. Try not to dive straight into sugar and alcohol. You know, just a little tips that I kind of share with people as well when it comes to something like alcohol is try to go over to organic, or better still, natural wine. There's all sorts of reasons why that is easier for us to digest, so it might not have additives in it, but also that a natural wine is naturally processed, which an organic wine isn't necessarily, interestingly. So keep hydrated. You can keep to the very simple flex foods. If you've finished the cleanse before the 10 days, and or you've got some of this left, you can continue with a follow-on where you have that small flex meal first thing in the morning, so 8 a.m, and a shake at 10 a.m. Try and keep to 2 light vegan or low protein meals a day. And if you've got a goal of if you've got a goal of wanting to continue to lose weight, you could get another pot of this and have 1 or 2 shakes a day, depending on what your goal is. So ways in which we can follow on could be to do a cleanse day on and a cleanse day off, so that you're alternating cleanse days. You could have 2 cleanse days a week. So you're doing the kind of 2-5 diet. You could have it the other way around and have 5 cleanse days. So you could have your weekdays on cleanse, your weekend days eating normal food. I quite often do that after a cleanse for a couple of weeks. Many people have a shake a day, just generally anyway, because there's all sorts of fine tuning that's going on in terms of your liver health and nutritional health with a shake a day. If you've got kind of athletes fitness goals, the MAP, and there's a couple of other athletes products I recommended and talked about last week, things like Super Male Formula, that could be a part of going on in terms of training. So there's the cacao mint spirulina that makes another additional sort of protein pump in terms of nutrition. So there's another product called Can't Beat This, which is a sports drink. So there are things that you can do if you want to build muscle, if you're going on in terms of training. If you know you've got heavy metals in your system, you might want to continue with a product like Coaxel Chlorella. And you could do that for 6 months even. You know, that depends. Again, we're getting kind of fine tuning about who we are and how we are. Low thyroid, low energy, just wanting general stamina. The ionic elements, you usually get loads of this left over. So you continue to add, 16 drops of this a day to your water. I've got people who've got low thyroid who take this every day, and that really helps with their energy. So usually we associate poor energy, low thyroid. This Black Walnut Plus is a product that we really only take for 10 days at a time. So very occasionally I have people on cleanse who love this so much, and it's conditioned their bowel so much and help that they've carried on with it for quite a few more weeks afterwards. It's certainly not designed for that, but I have had people who've just said, I like it, I want to take it, and they've taken it for 4 or 5 weeks and found that their bowel has then gone on to be continually comfortable rather than perpetually constipated. So it is an interesting product at that level. If you know you suffer from sleep issues, this can be a great one to continue with. So they've all got different values. You can buy any of them individually. There are 3 in a pack called the Daily Max, which would be a shake a day, 4 MAP a day, and this at bedtime. And that is a really nice little cleanse matrix that you could do every day. Obviously the shake is the meal replacement, to continue to kind of gently lose weight if that was a goal. To basically don't jump back into life too fast. BJ, anything you wanted to add or ask?
Well, I know we're all different, and I sometimes like to be difficult. So everybody said how amazingly well they slept, and it was so nice to get rid of the bloating. My sleep hasn't been good. Last night was the first good night. I realized actually on Friday and Saturday when it was its worst was full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Might be something to do with that. But it was interesting that the cherry, I don't know whether it's the cherry or what it is, but I have really been quite wired.
Okay.
And the bloating is interesting because you mentioned it, maybe it's the shakes. I can't work out if it's the shakes or food. It's something that I've had before the detox. Wake up in the morning, feel amazing, stomach's looking good. The minute I have food, I can't push my stomach out anymore. It's that distended.
Yeah. Okay. So first off with sleep, I have had one cleanse where my sleep was awful. And so I just figured I was sorting something out. Don't know what. This, on the label, it says take 2 tablespoons at bedtime. I find that too much, so I just take 1. See if that makes a difference. See if it makes a difference having it in warm water. That may help. What that is helping your body do is produce melatonin. So it's very powerful antioxidant. Try having less, see if that makes a difference. Can always have an Epsom salt bath before bedtime. Can always add a little bit of that to your apothecary at bedtime. So another 2 squirts of this, that might help. Yoga Nidra, really nice to listen to. I don't know if you've ever done that, but that really has helped me on rough nights. Could be something that
I because I'm a Reiki practitioner, I use Reiki, or I send healing to people, so it's quite useful. It's not so much that I toss and turn, it's because I've sort of got things to do, but it's just I'm awake.
Yeah. And you're wakeful, you're just conscious. It
might be stuff that's just releasing and coming up and coming out.
Yeah, I think you and I can work more with that when we talk. My thoughts around the cleanse and the products you've got is try a bit less apothecary, try adding some ionic elements at bedtime. Definitely things like Epsom salt baths, and the whole thing around screen time and all those things that we kind of know, wind down. One of the things that Troy Casey would say is to definitely make sure that you rest, because if you perpetually work hard through the cleanse, you may find that pushes you into a slightly wired state as well. I've definitely experienced that myself.
And for anybody who's at the beginning, the weekend, Friday, Friday night was so hard, because Friday night was
really
crisps, wine and all those things.
And it was
not know what to do with myself, and it was the salt. I went and had a salt bath. That really helped.
I find sometimes that the cherry can do that, and all I do is I have it earlier in the evening. So I have it about 6 o'clock, and then I find that actually works better for me. I can't actually remember the timings, which is why earlier in the messages I asked for the timings again. But I find that the cherry about 6 or 7 o'clock works far better for me than I think it's meant to be 8 or 10. I can't remember what time it is, but it works better. I think it's
8.
It certainly sounds like the moon might have something to do with it as well.
Yeah.
I've been through periods of time, because I often have this at bedtime, and I just generally anyway, and I stopped having it at bedtime a few months ago, because I wondered if there was a wakeful aspect for me, and I've started it up again recently, and I'm loving it. So
maybe it's just different times, different things just at different times. I don't normally have sleep problems. The only reason I get up is because of the flushes.
How have you found those on this?
I was trying to work it out. They're definitely still there. Maybe they've reduced a little. Matt was asking how many I have a day. I think I'm up for about 15 hours of the day, I suppose, from 7 to 10 or whatever. Probably average 1 an hour, because sometimes I have 2 or 3 in an hour, and I might go for an hour or 2 without.
So that's something that, generally I would say the cleanse is helpful with hot flushes, because you're cleansing your liver so much, so insomnia and hot flushes both relate to liver. So it could be there's more work to do on that level. With bloating on the cleanse, that definitely can happen to me. This has it's nicer than some of the bowel cleanses. I definitely couldn't have 4 a day. That's uncomfortable for me. It pushes my bowel too fast. So 3 a day. And the cooling aspect of greens could be a factor in terms of causing bloating. So it could also be next time on cleanse, and this is what I said to you, I think in a message was that you use half Love Super Meal that Helen showed earlier and half this as a cleanse shake. It could be that there is something in this which is causing a bit of discomfort for you. I haven't had the Love Super Meal for ages, but I've definitely done that as a cleanse. It's less cooling. Yeah, that's Helen showing Love
So
Super
that
Meal.
would be one that we'd need to get ordered.
Yeah, instead. So if you were doing the cleanse together, you could get you can buy the products individually. So you might get the smaller size of this. There's a 500 gram size and a pot of the Love Super Meal, and that would be enough for you. So instead of buying the full cleanse, but I can show you how to do that.
Or the other alternative is I've got quite a few pots here. If you're in the cleanse now, if you want to just buy it off me and then have it so that you can continue now, I'm quite happy to send it across to you. I can go to the post office tomorrow. So if you want to have it
That's
straight
so
away.
sweet. That's so sweet. But I think even if you post it tomorrow, it'll come on Thursday and we finish on Friday.
Yeah.
But that's a lovely offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's a kind of, you know, we're looking at kind of juggling it and fine tuning it. This doesn't apply to you. I've had a couple of people who have struggled on the first days of their cleanse, adapting to the product, and I think they genuinely didn't slow down enough before. So I always say to have, Justine, I know you're quite new to it, but 2 kind of or 3 very light days before you start the cleanse, so that you kind of wind down, you know, dial back on tea, coffee, alcohol, meat, fish, you know, just really simplify the diet before you go into the cleanse. And I've had a couple of people where I think they've screeched to a halt, particularly on things like bread and croissant, and then just struggled for the first 3 days, feeling awful, you know, which frankly would happen on any cleanse. So it's really good to just gently go in.
So if you get a case of, I think it was day 3 or day 4, I went to bed and my stomach, oh God, okay, I don't know what's going on there. And then that night I had, yeah, it was green diarrhea for the night.
That's quite common. Yeah.
And I obviously got confused. So it's the walnut I should have cut back on, but actually I cut back on, I did 15 chlorella.
Yes. Yeah.
17.
Generally speaking, yeah, if the bowel is if you've never done a bowel cleanse before and the bowel feels forced, you know, and it's like you're urging and not much is happening, then it's usually this, because this has got quite strong stimulants in for the bowel, the black walnut plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what that's doing is it's clearing parasites. You could have parasites, like a lot of us have parasites in the gut, like many more people have parasites in the gut than they realize. So there can be all sorts of stuff that gets thrown out with this, and it doesn't always want to get thrown out. So that can, this cracked cell chlorella will make your poo green, but it's not necessarily going to make you go to the loo. It's clearing, you're chelating heavy metals from the system, pulling them out of the system. Just the combined, you know, onslaught of having a lot of green stuff will create green poo. So it's quite common. For myself, I have to watch that my bowel doesn't slow down on days 5 to 6. So that's the time when I, you know, tend to kind of go in with the herbal detox type teas, etc., and make sure that another thing you can do if your bowel is uncomfortable, slow, and possibly the bloating actually, is what's called a castor oil pack. Have you ever done that?
No, but it's not slow. It's definitely not slow.
Yeah. But with the bloating, I was thinking it might be useful to do, because bloating is usually gallbladder and liver. And you can use castor oil, which you get from the chemist. Again, I'll send the recipe onto the WhatsApp group, but you pour it onto a flannel, old flannel, sort of folded in 4, and pop that over the liver, and then put an old towel over the top of that and a hot water bottle, and that will help the liver in its process, and it should help reduce bloating. Actually, it'd be quite interesting to do that. Great for period pains. That
So
kind of
the flannel in castor
oil. Yeah, you just sort of, castor oil is horrid and sticky, so that's why you use old flannels and stuff, and just drizzle it on. There you go. Helen's got some, but yeah, you just, that pucker one's nice, but you can just get it from the chemist. It's pretty innocuous and easy to get stuff. But it's
very handy, Helen, with your.
it's great. And I didn't prime Helen to do any of this. So it's fantastic you've got these to hand. But yeah, I'll share the castor oil pack, how to do that, with the WhatsApp group as well.
Lovely.
You got yours from Amazon. Yeah, pucker you can get, you could probably get on the natural dispensary as well, actually. Let's just see if there's anything else in the chat box. When to adapt, Yes, so it'd be interesting to see how that is for you, Helen, in terms of clearing night sweats. How is the cleanse for you on doing that? That'd be good to see.
I've been adapting, so I haven't actually started the cleanse yet, because I'm gonna run it. I haven't got enough map and I haven't got enough cherry, but I don't want to go and order the pack, because I definitely don't need any love, because I've got several packs of it.
Yeah,
So I need to just order.
I probably have an apothecary and a map if you don't want to put in a big order. So
do you? In that case,
I was going to say, just message me. Would you message me about that?
Yeah,
and then I'll remember.
But
yeah,
what I'm doing is I'm doing each day. One day I do an Epsom salt bath in the evening, and one day I do a castor oil pack, and it's already reduced the night sweats. So I can already get, and I'm doing I pretty much always have at least one smoothie a day anyway.
Yeah.
And then I put celery and cucumber in just to help my liver.
Yeah, brilliant. Great.
But I don't ever and have never ordered the black walnut, because I react to walnuts.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you have a lot of sensitivities, which you really need to know what they are anyway. Yeah.
That's anaphylaxis. That's carrying an EpiPen job. So I'm not risking that one. What would you suggest, was my question, I can use instead of black walnut? Because my bowel is a little bit slow at the moment since Christmas.
Yeah. There's a product that Aquasource do called Aloe Plus, I think it is. Is that right, Justine? I think it's called Aloe Plus. It's something like that. If people have ordered the wrong pack and they haven't ordered the one with the black walnut plus in, which does happen occasionally, then I usually order them Aloe Fresh, it's called. That's right, Aloe Fresh. That's a nice product as a bowel tonic. And I only say that because they're a UK company and it arrives the next day rather than having to wait for it to come from Europe. Yeah.
Okay, I've got some aloe to put in, like a drinkable aloe that I got from a health food store, and I was going to wait and put that in as part of my liquid into my smoothie. Would you say that was the best way to do it, or not really?
Yeah, I don't know whether aloe on its own is enough of a bowel tonic. I don't know enough about it. You could experiment with that and find out. That I know the Aloe Fresh has some other factors in it, but the aloe on its own is really nutritive. For some people, it is enough. If your bowel's feeling a bit slow, then some people can't take it because it forces their bowel too much. So just listen in. Is it enough to add a little bit of aloe to your shakes? Might be absolutely fine.
I muscle tested it and it said it was okay for me.
Oh yeah, not that it wouldn't be okay for you. I mean, is it going to stimulate your bowel to cleanse enough?
Well, normally my body's quite clear. If something doesn't suit me, my body will say, get out get rid of it, sort of thing. So for it
Yeah.
to come up as a good, it's got to benefit me somehow.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just meant if you're on cleanse and your bowel is slow in spite of that, then you might want to look at something else. So just, and then other things that I recommend that really help are things like the skin brushing. You know, the skin brushing
before my shower. I restarted that in the last couple of days before a shower.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, some clients do that every day anyway, you know, but that is what, there's other factors for that. So it's not just helping your body to detox, you know, but the leptin receptor cells are just underneath the skin surface, and you stimulate those when you skin brush. So skin brushing helps. It's leptin is what's called the skinny hormone, and when it's active in the body, then we're metabolizing things efficiently. If that is slow or sluggish for some reason, we're going to hold on to weight. So skin brushing has lots and lots of, you know, feel good factors about it. It's not just about moving your lymph around and helping you detox. It could be that it's helping with weight loss, circulation generally, which helps the brain, you know. So if someone has foggy menopausal brain, I might get into skin brushing because you're improving your circulation. When your circulation improves, then your everywhere is improving, you know, all that circulation here into the brain and out again is improving, you know. So all these things are kind of helpful. Hot and cold showers, cold water swimming, all of those things will help the circulation and thereby improve things like foggy brain, you know. So it's kind of circular, like we are inside.
Thank you.
Any last minute question? Oh, let's see. Justine says, feeling unwell end of November and December. Let me just read this. Lots of processing, only just like getting energy back. So on a surer footing, plus I get work, so better wait until spring. So a couple of things you could do if you still feel like, oh, I want to, it's post Christmas, you know, I really want to do a bit of a cleanse. You could do just the 3 products I mentioned. So this in the evening. You could even do 3 shakes a day with the mat. So you could do a modified version of the cleanse and make sure that you have an evening meal or even 2 light meals, so that at 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock, you eat maybe something slightly more filling. Let's see, that was another aspect of what you asked. I just wanted to reply to, energy back. I would start with things like these, if you don't already, the skin brushing, hot and cold showers, trying to reduce tea, coffee, alcohol, sugar, and seeing where you are for a few days. That you could definitely do a modified version, you know. That's the other thing. I've had a couple of people who are very, very skinny, who really don't need to lose much weight, because we've all got some toxins. The first time we do the cleanse, we've all got some toxicity that we're hanging on to. Just had 1 or 2 people who are genuinely skinny minis, who felt cold and tired and skinny, you know, on it. And I've just said, you need an evening meal with, you know, some baked sweet potato in, or something a bit more filling. But there's ways of adapting, you know, so that we're not eating a croissant.
No, I mean, like you said, with the alcohol and all that, I mean, I haven't drunk for over a year, so all of that stuff I'm kind of doing anyway. I do the green shakes every day and things like that. So yeah, that kind of appeals more to me, because I suppose I'm a little bit kind of apprehensive about the whole thing, because I've always avoided it because of being very, very sensitive and sometimes lower in energy. I kind of burn it up quicker, if you get what I mean. So I've kind of avoided it, and I think I'm just thinking, no, not yet.
And the other thing, if you feel like you know this really isn't the time of year to do it, then spring is traditionally a good time to do a cleanse. It's, you know, we have this thing, I want to, you know, after Christmas, want to change, you know, and that's how we're kind of wired in the West, but really, the developed world, or whatever we call ourselves these days. That's not even the right word. I did find out what the correct and current term is. Yeah, if you are tired, if you're somebody who gets tired, then double up on these in the cleanse, you know. So these are the ionic elements, so they can really help with that.
I was worried that I would be tired. I hadn't thought through. I had an evening at the theatre, and on day 2 it ended up being, because I hadn't realised we needed to do prepping, and I wasn't sure I'd be able to make it, and I felt fine. I felt good. Sometimes we've still done our 2 dog walks a day, 45 minutes to an hour each one, and
that's pretty good.
I always feel tired at the end coming up the, up the hill. So I don't know whether that's been more noticeable. I was worried that I would feel tired, especially this week, because this week I've been seeing clients, whereas last week I wasn't seeing clients. And tiredness hasn't, and I'm quite sensitive too because of Reiki and healing. Tiredness hasn't been an issue for me. So I don't know if that gives you any encouragement. In fact, yeah, and in the mornings I'm quite good. I'm busy. I mean, I'm, you know, things like doing the unblocking drains and drain maintenance, you know, putting the drain buster down.
I remember that next week, coming on the inside and outside.
Coming on the inside and the out, exactly. Yeah, so I felt quite energized, actually. It surprised me. I had one day where I was headachy and very ratty, day 1, because it was my 3rd day of, I did 2 days prepping, and up to New Year's Day we'd had cheese and meat and alcohol and chocolate, and, you know. Yeah, I'm going to have to, my Sunday I'll be driving back from up north, you know, and then I'm starting cleanse on Monday, so I really need to make sure that on Monday I factor in an afternoon sleep or rest, because that drive, you know, we need to think about how much we push ourselves. You know, that drive could be 6 hours for me, and that will impact the next day, you know. So if you feel like, because of driving and in being really busy, it's almost like hungover, you know, that's not a great way to start a cleanse. But I'm determined to start on Monday the 16th, so be it. But it means definitely in my diary, I'm just going to have a quick look, that I factor in, yeah, it's not looking too bad. I factor in a rest in the afternoon. You know, I really want to do that on this cleanse and have a 3 o'clock, even if it's just for a quarter of an hour every day, a 3 o'clock rest, because I'm very good at not doing that. You know, and the last 2 cleanses were, some of you know, my dad was unwell last year, and sadly since gone, but you know, both times I did the cleanse last year, I ended up dashing up the country on the middle weekend, so I just didn't get that weekend. And, you know, family was like, oh, well, it's easy to get chips and fish and chips. You know, so to really discipline myself, as well as deal with kind of emotional turmoil. So, you know, what we get on cleanse is really quite interesting, you know, what we work through. So I'm always like, this time, in fact, I might do that after the call, is just block out that 3 o'clock right the way through, 3 till 4. Can I do that? So I'm going to leave there because I've got to do something at 7. Thank you for everybody for all your questions. I will put castor oil pack on the WhatsApp group. Helen, can you email me with your phone number? So I've got your phone number, and there was something else you were going to ask me. Oh yeah, about a couple of the products. So yeah, drop me an email with those if you would, or text me. Just want to check I've got the right phone number. So good. All right. We'll catch up when you get a moment on malaria stuff.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I'll be tomorrow I should get back to you. I've got big gaps tomorrow and I've got time to do that. So yeah.
Amazing.
Good.
Thank you so
Right.
much. And thank you
Thank
also.
you. Yeah, and
supporting
enjoy your last 3 days. That's when I usually start flying. I'm like, whoa, what? I'm never going to stop.
Exactly.
So I'm curious about where you're going to go. But yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you very much, and happy New Year to everybody.
And
Oh,
to
thank you,
you.
Helen.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you,
too.
everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye, folks.
Bye.
Bye.